You're adapted.
My name is Matthew, and I shoot an old Fuji with old lenses, and these are their stories. The Voigtlander 28mm f2 Ultron. This is without a doubt my favorite and the last of my 28mm lenses, for now. The Leica M mount is by far the smallest adapter, but like all magic, it comes with a price. More on that later. No surprises here, another walk around downtown to catch some neon lights. I'm not sure if it's this lens or the adapter, but the halations I was getting were way over the top, so I had to meter this a little differently than all the other lenses. I still used the Cinestill recipe from Fuji X Weekly, but really had to watch the highlights, so I was losing a lot of shadow detail. Problem number 1. It's not like you can't shoot in low light, as seen here. It's just that really high contrast situations took some extra work that the other lenses didn't require. But after shaking off the rust, I found my spot. If you're not a fan of the super glow look like me, this lens might not be for you. I know it sounds like I'm shitting on this lens, but I'm just being honest. Focusing was a breeze, and it's not a soft lens. I love me some clean-ass lines. For me, it's all about the colors, and adjusting the ISO is where I do my thing. The changes are more gradual than messing with the shutter speed all the time. Most of the night shots were shot wide open with the shutter between 125 and 250. I remember having to move down to 1/60th a few times when there was almost no light, but I made final adjustments with the ISO dial. That's why I love this camera. All the physical dials make it super fast once you get used to it. The out of focus areas were hard to show. There really wasn't a defined shape like most lenses. I had to stop it down to f5 just to get some of the focus back. But with the day ball coming, it was time to see what kind of colors I was going to get. Morning neon. Time to get to work. As usual, I concentrate on getting the sky the color I want and let the neon do what it does. Since I refuse to edit photos anymore, I kinda have to take what the camera and lens want to give me, and I'm okay with that. I like how the sky is almost gray-blue, with the difference being what side of the sign I was shooting from. But with all that orange coming, I put the sun behind me and got shooting. Because this lens is made for a rangefinder, the close focus is terrible. Problem number 2. I'm using an adapter that can focus really close, but I'm not using it like that for this video. I like this lens the most in broad daylight. I still had some issues with keeping the highlights in check, but I always overexpose everything. I had to pick my battles. If you like to meter closer to 0, all the colors will probably be a little darker with way more detail. If you shoot raw, the world is your oyster, I guess. And that's it for the standard settings. For all the previous lenses, I used the stock settings in the day and the Cinestill recipe at night. Not anymore. I took away all the highlights in the Cinestill recipe and found my groove again. Now I was getting the shadow detail I wanted. This is a lot closer to how the other lenses acted at night, but with a little extra glow from the lights. Definitely my style. It was so dark here without streetlights, I had to drop the speed down to 1/60th of a second. And if you can't hold that still, I feel bad for you. With the sun coming up, I took one of my favorite shots ever. Took a short trip for a much needed change of scenery and a chance to pull out my own personal day setting. It's based on a Kodak Gold recipe. It's almost spot on with how I used to edit my raw photos, furthering my laziness and my refusal to edit any longer. It was definitely pastel time. If you're one of the few people who have seen my Portland video, this is the lens I use 90% of the time. Most of that trip was shot during the day in a ton of different lighting, and I never doubted it once. Like I said before, I didn't miss many shots. If I did, it was all on me. So for focus, I give it a... The adapter is negligible, so for size, I give it a... This lens is newer with a name behind it, so it'll cost you, but it's worth it. So for price, I give it a... Well, there you have it. My favorite 28mm lens. I mean, look how small it is. I would take it anywhere, and I have. But is it my best lens? No. This guy is. I've pushed this lens off the meter over and over, and it still just held the highlights in check, even during the day. If I had money riding on a shoot, this is my lens. But there's just something about that Voigtlander lens. I can't explain it. But it's time for some new focal lengths. So I'll see you next time on Your Adapter.